Hello Game Boys and Game Girls, I'm the Game Boy Guru and welcome to another pickups video. I didn't get a ton between January and February, but I wanted to go ahead and just show off what I have because A, I want to get this stuff on the shelf, but then B, I figured rather than wait until the end of March and potentially have a ridiculous pickups video, I might as well go over what I've got so far in 2023. So let's start out with this fun little item. This was a free item that I got, and some of you may have received this as well if you have purchased from Strictly Limited Games. It's this 5th anniversary book that they put together, and it is hardbound, and it's got a lot of pages. It's, you know, I guess you could call it a coffee tale book or something like that. It sort of goes over their first 5 years of production and all of the things that they've released, and so it shows the catalog and the release order and goes over all these different games, which is kind of a neat idea, you know, just sort of catalog everything that they've put out. And so, you know, I've got a few of them like Gundemonium's there on PS4, or actually I've got a decent number, or here we go, Velocity 2X, that's one that I picked up. R-Type Dimensions, the Sara Collection, you know, several of these that I've picked up over the years. Ultra Core, I've got the Switch and Sega Genesis physical release of that. You know, Darius Cosmic Collection and so forth. So it's just kind of a neat little, I guess, catalog you could call it, of all the different releases that they've put out in the first 5 years of their existence. And a couple of these are not even out yet, haven't shipped, and so like the last two releases in the list here are Draenus and the Desitopia and Mecharitz's compilation, and so those haven't even shipped yet. So it's kind of interesting how that works. But anyway, just kind of a neat. Oh, and Cannon Dancer or Osman. I think that's maybe started to ship, but I haven't seen that one yet. So anyway, kind of a fun little item. This is something that I stumbled across on eBay. I was doing some looking for a particular type of item, and I came across this and I said, I have to own this. And so this is just a cartridge shell. It's an empty cartridge shell, and it doesn't necessarily look like the kind of cartridges that you would typically see from a game console or what have you, and that's because it's not for a game console. It is for a computer. Specifically, it is the right size and shape for the IBM PC Junior, which had a pair of cartridge slots on the front, and there were several applications that came out for the cartridge slot. Notably, a handful of pretty cool games, but also IBM Basic came on cartridge, and there were some other applications as well. But what this is, I'll just kind of briefly explain. This is going to be a custom PCB that will go into that cartridge shell, and as you can see, it's got a slot on the top for an SD card, and so they included a micro SD to SD adapter with it. And what this will effectively do is allow me to use an SD card as a virtual hard drive for the IBM PC Junior, which is a really cool idea. I have a ton of 5 1/4 inch floppy disks for the system that I've had since I was a kid, because I still have my family's original IBM PC Junior. And I played a bunch of games on it. I'll just kind of show you a couple of examples here. that I just happen to have on the shelf here. So this is Scuba Venture, and this is Mouser. And these are games that I've had since I was a kid. But as you can see, if I open this up, you know, you've got your manual here, and then inside is the cartridge itself, which matches the basic size and shape of this this other cartridge that I got off eBay. Except that this cartridge has this little ribbing on the back to help you pull that out of the system a bit better. And this one has the slot on the top where you can insert the micro SD card. And so the idea is I could then, in theory, I could take most of the discs that I have that are full of games and things like that and make copies of those to the SD card as if it was a hard drive. And at one point, you could actually purchase a either an internal or external hard drive for the Junior. I want to say the internal drive was a sidecar because the Junior was expandable through kind of a serialized fashion where you could add sidecars to it. And you could use that to expand the RAM, add a printer port, add an additional serial port, those kinds of things. And I want to say that there was either an internal card for a hard drive, or there was a card that allowed you to add an external hard drive. I don't remember off the top of my head. But in any event, most of these 5 1/4 inch discs that I've had since childhood, I don't have backups for. And although most of those games and applications you can still download online today, it would be nice to be able to archive my own copies and be able to utilize them in that fashion. So in any event, I picked this up hoping that I would be able to do that. Plus, you know, I grew up using MS-DOS 2.1 booting from a disk on the PC Junior, and then once you booted into DOS and it was loaded into RAM, then I could pull that DOS floppy disk out and throw in another disk, and then, you know, run whatever game or application I wanted to. And so it'll be nice to be able to put a DOS 2.1 disk on here and actually set it as bootable, so that I can immediately, if I'm not running something from another cartridge, that I could just run it from this cartridge and boot into DOS immediately, and then either access the floppy drive for when I need to, or for most everything, I ought to be able to do it right from here. So this is very exciting for me, because I haven't pulled the PC Junior out in years. But now that I have this, I'm probably going to try and number one, open it up and make sure that I don't have any leaky caps or anything like that. And then number two, you know, this will maybe actually get me to pull that thing out and properly utilize it for the first time in well over a decade. So I'm looking forward to that. But when I saw that on eBay, I pretty much knew right away that I had to have that, because that was going to be something for me to kind of get that nostalgia tickle. I already showed this off on stream here a few weeks ago, and so I've already opened the plastic because I kind of did a variety stream randomly on the weekend, showing off a bunch of new games for old consoles that I had picked up over the last few years. And the most recent one that I got in the mail was this game that I backed on Kickstarter, and that is Montezuma's Revenge. This was done by the person who created the MS-DOS version of the game. I know that wasn't the original, and this isn't the person who created the game, but this is an NES game that is essentially a a close to one-to-one remake of the original PC version. I played the PC version as a kid because that's what we had, was a PC. So I played a ton of this as a kid. And so here's the cartridge. It did come in just a plain black plastic sleeve like you would see in a typical NES cart. It does have styrofoam in there as a spacer, as you would expect. And then here's here's your nice full-color instruction manual. Very nice, stock that this is on. It's more like a card stock and less like the kind of thinner, glossy paper that you would have had a traditional manual printed on back in the 80s and early 90s. So this is really cool. And then it also comes with this, these cards here. This is I presume this is the developer, much younger, from when the PC version was developed around that time. And then here's this this scene here, and this is huge nostalgia for me because, like I said, I played this a ton as a kid, so I saw this screen a lot. And then some cool line art here. This is looks like actually drawing the sprites out for the Explorer on graph paper, which is a really neat deal. So yeah, I'm excited to have this. I was never great at this game. I never managed to beat it as a kid, and when I played it on stream here a few weeks ago, I remembered a few things about playing the game, and there were certain things that came right back to me, and then there were a few other things that, oh, you know, I forgot about this, or what have you. And so this new version does add a couple things. I mean, it adds some music, which the PC version didn't have. All it had were sound effects. But graphically, and in terms of how the game moves and how everything behaves, it's pretty spot on. One thing to note, there was apparently a misprint on the boxes, but instead of waiting for the boxes to be corrected, since everybody was eager to get these in their hands, all of us backers, there's this sticker here that has this spider on the front. I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but it's a little glossier than the rest of the box. And so that's a little bit of a detail there. I'm assuming that if there are subsequent physical prints of this, that sticker won't be there. So that'll probably make the backer edition a bit more sought after in the future. So Montezuma's Revenge for the NES. Big nostalgia for that. This is one that I've been wanting for a long time, and now that the physical is finally out with all the DLC, I own a copy, and that is Cuphead for the Switch. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. I've heard so many great things about this game, and people rave about it all the time, and so I'm looking forward to putting some time into this at some point. I haven't actually pulled the tape off. Do I have my my craft knife over here? I don't know that I do. Oh, I forgot to show this with the Montezuma's Revenge. There was a couple of other things here. There's a little spider sticker. These two other 40th anniversary stickers. There's two of these with the little Explorer guy, and then my oh, and then my Kickstarter sheet that kind of shows the backing. It doesn't look like I've got my... Oh, here it is. I can just quickly cut through this little sticker here so I can open the case. And then you can see, it doesn't have a manual, but it does have this nice little set of cards in here, which is kind of neat. So it has this, this membership card. It certifies that blank is a registered Cuphead pal. The Cuphead Club card there. And then here on the back, I hereby pledge to be as Cuphead would, colorful, animated, and when safe, open to a fantastical adventure or two. And by golly, always be yourself, Cuphead. So that's kind of fun. So in lieu of a manual, you've got these little, you've got this little pack of Cuphead Funnies cards. And it's got this card number 1 here. It's got all these, the 2 Cuphead characters being chased by vegetables. And it says, I thought vegetables were supposed to be good for you. So anyway, this is kind of a fun little detail. Since the game is a fairly basic affair and has a tutorial that is now, I would say, infamous, given the backlash that happened online after the one reviewer had footage of themselves playing the game and failing pretty spectacularly at the tutorial. You know, a manual isn't strictly needed, but it is nice that it does have some cool inner art. So if you like that better, you can always reverse that. I think the simple cover works pretty well. So glad to finally have Cuphead in the collection. I went to the game store that's, well, closest to me. I say that, but it's about an hour drive from where I live, and picked up a bunch of stuff while I was there. Kind of went maybe a little overboard, but you know, I was able to fill a few holes in the collection. So I got myself Foreman for Real, another Game Boy game that I did not own. Got a decent price on that. I'm kind of reaching that point now where my Game Boy collection is such that it's hard for me to find Game Boy games in the wild that I don't already own, because I go to stores, and even stores that have 80 or 90 games in stock, typically I have them all. So it's kind of annoying. I got, for PSP, I got Disney's G-Force. I got Ghostbusters, the video game. Got a real good price on that. A less good price on Test Drive Unlimited, unfortunately, but, you know, needed it for the collection. And then also picked up SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Almost bought SmackDown vs. Raw 2010, but that one was missing the manual, so I opted to skip that for now. It'll probably be cheaper to just buy it complete than it would be to buy that and then try to source the manual somewhere. For the Master System, I finally got myself a copy of Black Belt. Good game. This, of course, was a Hokuto no Ken game in Japan, and they didn't have the license here because there was already a Fist of the North Star game on the NES. So this got rebranded, but it's a good game. So cool to have that one. I also picked up Rocky, the 2 Mega cartridge, and I now officially own, now that I have Rambo First Blood Part 2, I now officially own both Sylvester Stallone related games on the Master System. So I guess yay. Even though this is not supposed to be a great game, I think it's probably a better boxing game than a lot of the attempts have been over the years. This was a fun find at the game store as well. I kind of saw this in the cabinet off to the side, and I knew that it was off to the side because it was going to be a different region. But this is my first PAL Mega Master System drive, and then it's Gauntlet. From Sega and US Gold. I'm hoping that US Gold is just the publisher and that Sega actually did the translation. So we'll see. we'll see if this is any good. But this came out in 1990, and you know, it was Tengen as well. So Tengen, being an Atari company, had the rights. So I'm hoping they didn't farm this out to US Gold, because you always roll the dice with those. But it was a decent price, and this store has a buy 4 get 1 free on all their media. So between the games you see here and a handful of music CDs, used CDs, you know, I got an okay deal. On the PlayStation 4, I picked up Batman Arkham Knight, this PlayStation Hits version. And so, from what I remember, the PC version of this had a ton of problems, but the console versions were solid. So that should be fun to mess with. And I also scratched 3 more items off the Wii U list. And so, How to Train Your Dragon 2, that was a little pricier than I probably would have liked, but it might actually be a decent game. I got Ben 10 Omniverse, and then Wipeout, Create and Crash. Didn't have that one yet. I know my my youngest nephew likes Wipeout stuff. I want to say they probably have one of the Wipeout games for the original Wii, and so managed to pick that one up as well. And finally, I will go ahead and show off a item that came in the mail from Limited Run Games, and that is Valis, the Phantasm Soldier Collection. And so this compiles the first 3 Valis games into one package. And before I crack this open, I will show you the absolute best collector card that I could have got with this. And that is the glorious, or I should say gloriously bad, cover art that was used for the North American Turbo CD release of Valis 3. I mean, nothing says video games like long-haired Paul McCartney in a metal bra, right? But let's go ahead and crack this bad boy open here. Or maybe I should say bad girl, since Yuko is the protagonist. If I remember correctly, Yuko. At least of the first 3 games. Now, I actually own Valis 2 for Turbo CD. It is the only Turbo CD game I own, and is one of those that I bought randomly at a game store some 20 years ago, because I saw it there and I thought, I never see Turbo CD games in the wild. I may never see them again. And this was 20 years ago when I was saying that. And so I thought, I probably better pick this up, because I might not ever see it again. And I was right, I never did. I still have never seen it in the wild anywhere else. So I'm glad I bought that. And so here we go. This is the game itself. And of course I did buy the Nintendo Switch version. We'll go ahead and crack this open so you can all see what's inside. I did actually play my copy of Valis 2 on Turbo CD a little bit years ago using an emulator. Because the emulator I used actually had CD support, so I was able to mess with it a little bit. And so there's the inside. It doesn't have a reversible cover with that glorious Valis 3 art in there. Kind of fun. That might be fun to throw in there at some point just for the lulz. And then of course it does have the little color manual. You know, not much here, just a little bit of not even really a manual, more of a oh, looks like it might be an interview with someone behind Valis. Yeah, let's look here. Yes, interview with designer Yukito Oyahashi. Interview conducted by Jared Petty, translated by Matt Papa. Nice! So that'll be a fun little read. These games are simple enough. You don't necessarily have to have a manual in the strictest sense. But this is pretty cool. It's got all these extras in here. There's this really cool soundtrack collection. And so this is 4 discs. Yeah, let's go ahead and open this up so you can kind of see what we got going on here. Because this is definitely getting ripped to the computer, to my home media server. Yeah, nice. So you've got a little blurb underneath the first disc here. So there are discs 1 and 2. Of course, disc 3 came loose in shipping. Oh, and the little blurb continues under disc 4. Brandon Sheffield, creative director, Necrosoft Games. Yeah, so the Necrosoft must have been involved in bringing these forward. And there are discs 3 and 4. But as you can see here on the back, just a ton of tracks. So quite a bit of music from all of these games. Let's see, we also have some art cards. So here you've got some characters from Valis 3. Here's the first Valis, and then here's one from Valis 2. And I distinctly remember screenshots of one of the cinematics with the protagonist in the background being a prominent thing. In fact, I want to say that's one of the things that shows on the back of the box on the Turbo CD version. And then you've got this big poster here, and I might have to back up slightly so I can unfold this all the way and show this off. Looks like it is double-sided, so you've got this nice large poster of Yuko. And then, once again, more Valis artwork there. So pretty cool stuff. And in addition to that, there are also some items in here that are very Valis themed. You've got the sword that Yuko carries around. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a little keychain. You also have a couple of pins in here. There's some symbols in the game that I think might have been part of the HUD in one of them. And that might be an item. I'm not 100% sure. It's been a while since I fired up Valis, or Valis 2, I should say. And then here's another one. So there's really nice quality metal pins with these inlaid, fake gems or what have you. So really nice little items that they send with the collection. And so that was a pretty cool deal. I'm not sure how I'm going to get all this back in here, but we'll give it a try. At least the extra stuff. I'm going to put the collector card in the game case itself, as I usually do. These guys will all go back in the box for now, until I decide at some point if I want to go ahead and display them somewhere. The CD collection is actually going to go in my home office room, where I keep my CD collection, because that's going to that'll be on the shelf with the rest of my CDs. And then the game itself will go on my Switch shelf over here so that it's accessible and easy for me to pull out and play. So that is all I have to show you. It's everything that I picked up during January and February. Like I said, not a ton, but enough to kind of show off and show you what I've been up to. I've already got a couple things here on the table that you can't see that are either arrivals or pickups for March. Just a couple of things so far. We'll see if I get enough stuff before the end of the month to justify its own pickups video. But anyway, thank you for watching. I wanted to get this done quickly so I could, clean up the table and put this stuff away and get it all ready to go. But what of these items would you most be excited about? I know I'm definitely looking forward to putting some time into Valis and, of course, Cuphead and messing around with this PC Junior cartridge. And I probably won't plug it into the console, but I am curious to fire up Gauntlet. So I may either fire that up on my Genesis with the flash card or fire it up on the Mister, because that's one that could be interesting. It either could be a solid port of the game or possibly a train wreck. So we'll see which it ends up being. But either way, it's kind of cool. So, but yeah, what of these games would you play first? Have you played some of these? And if so, is there anything in this stack that you would recommend, or anything that you thought, hey, I wasn't sure I was going to like this, but I ended up having a good time? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and also consider subscribing so you can see more of my videos in your YouTube feed. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks for playing, and game on.